I respect it. All right, a couple more that we got to give away here. And guys, this next thing is just, it's an opportunity for us to say something nice. In some movies, it's easy for us to do, and sometimes it's hard. So we got to be, this is the positivity train we're getting on board right now. Joe, 3 things that you liked. What were your 3 favorite things about this movie? It could be anything. An actor, performance, whatever.
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay.
All the 80s decor
Yeah.
was just perfect. It was prime 80s, man. And the designers were dead on. I mean, the mansion was fantastic looking.
Yeah.
The shopping center, the schools, the outfits, solid 80s. Loved it.
Yeah.
The dance-off,
Yeah.
huge fan of that. That's the first time I've ever enjoyed a dance-off.
Yes.
Ever. I thought it was good.
You stood up. Were you angry? Like, oh, they're going to have a dance off. You stand up out of your chair. Like, I'm going to leave.
No, I was about ready just to phase out. You know, just kind of like, whatever, another dance off. I was going to go, like, grab my phone and start, like, you know, looking at some stuff, you know, kind of just phase out and, like, just whatever. Let's get it done, and I'll watch the movie again. It brought me in, and it kept me there.
I love it.
Yeah.
Then my last one was one scene that we never touched on.
Oh.
But it was one of the best lines.
Oh, please. I'm sorry I missed it.
Is when he goes to see the priest.
Oh yeah.
And he sits there and
He's just great.
and he drops all these problems on the priest, and the priest's like, "Well, you better get a shovel."
Well, he's not. He's just a drunk guy. But that's
I know, but I know.
A homeless guy. He thinks he's talking to a priest.
Right.
It's a
Whatever.
homeless
That
man.
is
Maybe it was, but
Yes.
when he goes to see he's
Yes.
meant to go see a priest.
Yes.
But he does just talking to the homeless guy. But the homeless guy's like, "You just better get a shovel because you're in some deep."
That was great.
right.
That was a,
I forgot about him. I feel bad that I missed that. That was a
I
great
thought
line.
that was a great.
Because that one
scene,
made me laugh
yes.
out loud.
That guy was like runner up for my Steve James.
Yeah.
We could have had that guy in there a little more.
And Jim Carrey's look was like, "What the?
like, oh,
What
damn,
is happening
I'm really
here?"
screwed now.
Charles, what's your 3 favorite
All
things?
right, so I've always, when I think of this movie, I think of buttons. I would absolutely agree with the 80s setting. All the old cars, that white Lincoln Continental limo.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
the
great.
clothes. I mean, it was just very, and
Yeah,
the songs. And then Lauren Hutton.
We have similar
great.
top 3s, brother, because my number 3 was Lauren Hutton. I thought she was fantastic.
She was great in this. Yeah,
Every scene she was in.
yeah. She was fun.
She was something.
Sorry.
What's the thing? I'm captivating.
Yeah.
You're drawn to her.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that was good. The second one, I thought just good dialogue overall. I mean, lots of good lines.
Yeah.
Lots of good memorable dialogue. The plot was kind of easy, basically paint by numbers, but the spoken dialogue I thought was really enjoyable. And then number 1, I got the 80s. Just the 80s was just
Perfect
This is a movie. You want to just experience the 80s for a minute, throw on Once Bitten, and you'll get your fix.
Yeah.
How about for you, Ryan?
All right, so I had the dance off. I'd love that dance off. Usually, it's kind of like Joe. It's like, oh, okay, a dance off. How lame, right? But this one was fun. I think it's Jim Carrey kind of brought a level to it, right? With what Jim Carrey does, and I that's what I think made the dance off in this movie probably more entertaining than any other dance offs in other movies out there, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
I think it's just Jim Carrey doing his thing.
Awesome.
I like the dial-a-date, man. Just
yeah, that was
the phones, the
Why
whole
wasn't that a
scene
thing
there.
when I was dating?
Right. I'm like, where was this? They were all closed by the time I was. All right. Anyway, just the craziness that ensued there when what's his name comes and starts accusing. I think that scene was set up like they were doing some sort of role playing or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think him and his wife, because when he was going out, he's like, "Daddy's been bad," and she's
oh my
all like,
gosh, you're right.
Yes.
I think it was a setup.
Because it was all prefab. Because he was saying things that the guy's like, no, and he was completely legit, and
Right.
but yet he kept up the.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
exactly.
think
what
they
it
were doing a
was.
little role playing, spicing things up. Yeah.
Let's bring a gun to it.
Yeah.
Wow, that,
Right.
that one from
Honey,
zero.
it didn't go as well last time.
Yeah.
We got to up it. Next time,
We
I'll
gotta
bring a
up
gun.
Yeah.
What was your third one?
No, number one's just the 80s, man.
Yeah,
This was
yeah,
a
right.
quintessential
Yeah.
80s, everything about it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
The
From the old
streamers.
logos, streamers, to the music. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
the old Crunch Bar.
Yeah.
That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Brian Boucher said number 1 was Jim Carrey. What else is there to say? It's Jim effing Carrey.
He's good.
Number 2, he won Karen Coppins is so sweet, beautiful, and she can dance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then number 3, Lauren Hutton. And so, yeah, I agree with you there, Brian.
Those are all good picks.
Parco said number 3, the dream sequences.
Yeah, those were good.
They made me laugh. The cafe scene with the black flamingo and Sebastian roller skating around with an accordion.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that part. That was hilarious.
The big heart-shaped headboard.
Yeah.
And the bad effect with Carrie turning into a vampire. It's like, and then the howl at the end. Is he becoming a werewolf now?
Right.
Number 2, I love that they did the tropey music thing where they're driving around Hollywood and the song is playing Once Bitten and talking about what is happening in the movie, and then Hands Off is also the lyrics are telling the story of what's happening.
Yes.
Yep.
And he goes, the dance battle was Rami and Michelle level awesome.
Yes.
And I've never seen that movie, but I'm assuming there's a dance. Is there a dance battle in that
Romy and
movie?
Michelle's a fun movie, too.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
I don't remember dance.
I don't remember a dance battle in it, but maybe. It's
And then
been
number
forever
1, he said the
since I've seen
Scooby-Doo scene at the end where they're just running around trying to escape. He goes, all they were missing was the multi-door scene where they're coming across the hallway, jumping in and out of the different doors. So, yeah, good takes there from Dave. And Vince Hine said, look, number 3, I enjoyed the physical and attempted comedy bits in the movie and how everyone tried to bring their own flair no matter how big or small the part was. I really thought across the board, Jim Carrey being himself was nice to see again. He hasn't been in the movie world in a long time, and it was just fun to see him in this kind of way, this light again. And then number 1, the Countess and Sebastian's relationship, he said was his favorite thing.
Yes.
Which I think we did touch on, right?
Yeah.
He said, though they did not get any awards from me, they were fun, and when on screen together, they always had a good rapport.
Yep.
And I think that the debate here that we always go into about how Arnold could have made a movie better, I think is a real easy one here. And I think Brian Boucher nails it. He goes, I would love to see Arnold play Russ and to see him hit women. Could you listen to me. You're a mature person.
Don't.
And
Please
I'm
stop.
a mature person. Okay.
In the Arnold voice, I can't do it.
I'm a Sagittarius. All right.
Son of a.
We should drop our inhibitions. Okay. And listen, let's just do everything that we want to do. So do it now.
James.
First of all,
James, you had me at hello.
First of all, I also think Arnold as Sebastian would be.
That's what I was thinking. Arnold as
honestly,
Sebastian.
I had him too for that.
Sebastian?
That's funny.
And imagine Arnold
as
as
I like
Sebastian
him.
when she tells him, come out of the closet, he just busts through the door.
Arnold dressed in them riding
right.
pants and
I sleep in the closet.
Look at my scarf.
Listen, I came out of the closet centuries ago, but nobody believes me.
And he comes out, he's got 2 women on each arm.
I told you.
Here are your buttons.
That's right. Here are the buttons.
that's what I was thinking. The buttons.
Get them out of here. You want some juice? Drink it. Oh, man. It's good stuff. Dave says choose a role. The Countess, a cross-dressing Arnold. Come on. If he was Mark, that would have been great, too. Vampire. He goes, vampires breaking their teeth on the Austrian oak. She go to bite his leg and it just like not work. The heck's going on here?
Got 1 busted fang.
What's the problem? What are you trying to do? And then as Sebastian camping it up, doing the Countess's makeup, that would be gold. And then Vince goes, this one was tough. I think the movie becomes different if he becomes Mark. So I want a cameo during the phone dating club scene where Russ goes over and it's just Arnold in a wig.
Yes.
Oh my
That would have been
That's
awesome.
like how we talked about that actually in the episode, right? That would be awesome. I would just want to see Arnold in. I know in the 80s he was making movies, but he was never in this kind of 80s movie.
No.
And I think it could have been fun, but I think Jim Carrey was the right choice ultimately.
Definitely.
It's time to come to a final decision here, guys. We have to give this thing a rating, whether it's a good movie, a bad movie, or a bad movie that rules. We're trying to separate and then combine the subjectiveness of the movie, which is our own opinions, and whether or not objectively it's good or bad. So, Joe.
Isn't there a 4th one? Like just straight up bad movie?
Well, it's a good movie,
Okay.
It's a bad movie,
Okay.
straight up bad, straight up good, or it's a bad movie that rules.
Okay, all right, I guess.
You could do it's a good movie that sucks, but I
Yeah, I guess you're
want to
right.
throat chop people that do that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead, Joe.
All right.
What do you got on this one?
This is a no-brainer. This is
yeah,
a bad movie,
Bad movie
that rules.
yeah.
Yes. Because is it a great movie? No. It's
Yeah, you pointed out a couple scenes.
There's some stuff that was like
didn't really.
they let that sucker go on a little long. I mean, they could have added some meat to some scenes and completely eliminated a few others.
Yeah.
And it would have made the whole thing a lot better. But the watchability, the enjoyability, the little things that happened, the fact that it get me to actually to watch a dance off, to laugh out loud. It's a bad movie that rules.
Love it. Great take, man.
Yeah.
Charles, where you at?
Okay, so I have a couple things I'd like to say about this movie. One of the things I think that's kind of interesting, I'm not 100% sure this holds up, but I do think there's a little bit of a sort of a morality tale here. Because you have relationship with Robin and Mark, and she's like, I don't want to be pressured. I'm not ready yet, right? And he goes off on his own and realizes that's not what he wants either. Now it probably falls apart at the very end, but she did. We know they were committed to each other and all of that. But I thought that was interesting that all those guys, when they actually were confronted with what it meant to sort of just have casual sex, they were like, well, we think. We don't know about
the two boys. They never told us.
We don't know what happened to them. So
they jumped out the window.
I also thought it was quite humorous. I thought it was quite humorous that there's actually, other than the painting, there's no female nudity in this movie.
No.
There's a male butt.
There's
a lot of male
nudity.
butts, though.
There's
the one
several
and then shower
scene.
Yeah.
which I think is an interesting flip of the norm. And so that's one of the things about this movie I think that's interesting is that it's 80s movie for sure.
Right.
But it's not at all kind of your stereotypical 80s movie.
I would agree, especially for how much sexual tension there is in the movie.
Yeah. So I think that it elevates that a little bit to where you could find, like I said, some morality tale aspects of it. I think it's a good movie.
Straight up good movie.
Straight up good movie.
Oh, wow.
I enjoyed this. I liked this movie when I was younger. I like this movie watching it now. My family, we enjoyed watching the movie together. I thought, granted, it's got its parts.
That's fine.
But I think it's a good movie. I think it works well. The Bitten continuity is hilarious. The burger continuity.
No, I think you've made a good argument for it. Yeah,
it's well acted for the most part, and it's except for the horrible bookkeeper bookstore guy. But no, it's a good movie. I would watch this
again
All right. Anytime. It was a fun movie to watch.
Mueller, where you at on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that the acting definitely elevated it a bit, right? Because you have not much to the plot, right? It's very simple,
right?
Yeah.
But I think the acting performances definitely elevate it. This is where you're ready for a second dog, right? You got a second. You got like your one dog, and he's kind of a pain in the ass. He's just. It's on the floor still. You can't get him to go outside.
Why you get a second one?
Well,
you're hoping he gets better.
Yeah, and it does, because you go to the pound and you see this like black and white dog, and you think, oh, he's got a real cool name. His name's Dracula.
Oh,
right. So yeah, give me that one. So you take Dracula back home. He's cool. He's like, he plays with the kids. He plays with your other dog and everything. And then when your other dog on the floor, Dracula bites him and cures him of his being on the floor.
Oh.
It's more complicated than the plot of the movie.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you something right now. Your dog poop scale has gotten so complicated. It's so convoluted. It's awesome.
It's going to implode in on itself.
It might one day.
It's just going to get so
things,
crazy.
yeah.
It's just going to come back.
It's going to come back. Yeah, explode, and then we're going to have a black hole. But yeah, this is a bad movie. That's real. I can't say that it goes to good movie. I think it's almost there, but I think there's just a couple things that hold it back, and I think it's mainly with probably the plot, because it's, like I said, it's one of those. I think the acting performances elevated that plot to where you don't even care too much. It's a fun movie. I'll watch it again, definitely.
All right, that's fair. All well stated by everybody. For me, I think I thought it's better than I thought it was going to be. I just watched the trailer and I was like, oh yikes, this is going to be a rough movie, super cheeseball, super corny. And there were cheesy and corny elements to the movie, which I think is what ultimately is going to make me not go good movie. But I definitely enjoyed myself. As I said, it was well written dialogue-wise. The music was terrible, but the 80s were on full display. And maybe that's why I'm giving it a better score than maybe I anticipated because it was just great. And Lauren Hutton crushed it. And Jim Carrey, fresh-faced Jim Carrey, it's a bad movie that rules for me.
Yeah.
Enjoyable. I wouldn't turn it off. I don't know if I'd go like, hey, let's all go watch Once Bitten. But if it came on, I'd be like, yeah, man, I'll watch this. That's where I'm at on it ultimately. I think it's a perfectly fine movie that's not good, but super enjoyable.
Yes.
Brian said the 80s pop rock music in this movie was great, and the performance of a young Jim Carrey is undeniable. It was fun for the most part. The only scenes that were boring were the dream sequences that were just drawn out way too long. Once Bitten's a bad movie that rules for me. So that's another rules from Brian. Dave Parkinson said, look, it's a bad movie that rules, mainly because of my shared experience of watching it with my wife and Caitlin, my 18-year-old daughter. Whom you've heard from. The palpable cringes, the laughs and disbelief of Mark fondling the picture of the Countess, the comments on bad music, bad hair, bad acting. So he's like talking about the experience that he had talking about these things in the room, which is part of what makes these movies enjoyable.
Yes.
The argument my wife and I had about a title change, I was saying vampire Porkies, and she was saying Porkies with teeth.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%.
My shock at hearing Gail, my wife, had seen this movie in the 80s. All of us laughing at the Scooby-Doo ending, and just those few times turned it from a bad movie to a bad movie that rules. And he also shared some of his 18-year-old daughter Caitlin's thoughts here, who said, I came out of the closet centuries ago was her favorite line, best delivery. Honestly, Sebastian was my favorite because he was easily the most tolerable of the movie. All the characters were so, so eloquently stupid and squealy. I love Jim Carrey movies, so what was this? I think she hated it.
Oh.
Wow.
She said Sebastian was the best character with the black rose, symbolic of hatred, death, and despair.
Wow.
That summarizes the feelings of all towards this movie.
Wow. She really didn't like this movie.
You hate yourself for watching it. You want to die, and you're in despair through the entirety of it. So that's from an 18-year-old.
Wow. So I'm thinking that's the whole generation and content thing going on in there.
Definitely.
I respect your take. I think there's some validity probably to some of that, but it definitely.
The thing is, it may be true, but we're tainted with the fact that we grew up in the 80s.
Yeah,
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
And we're tainted by the fact of what the 130 piles of crap we've had to sit through at this point.
Yeah.
So.
And Vince said it was a bad movie that rules. It's not what I thought, honestly, for me. It needed more comedy and vampire stuff. The pacing was odd at times and super horny people in almost every scene. Didn't ruin the fun, but maybe don't make it so prominent that sometimes the comedy doesn't have time to take effect. Vince overall says bad movie that rules. So that's a lot of rules. Nobody said bad movie. We got one good movie out of there. I think ultimately people were pleased with Once Bitten. Maybe give it another look out there, guys, if you haven't gone back to it in a while yet. It's time for us to move on to our final movie of the spooky season here in October. And that means next week we're going to be talking about Resident Evil.
Oh, video game, right?
A video game movie that had very little to do with the video game.
Is that Mia Jovovich?
Mia Jovovich or whatever. Mila Jovovich.
I should watch that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I think 99 or 2000, I think is when it came out. I remember being
a lot of fresh-faced people in there. A lot of stars that one.
Michelle Rodriguez is in it.
One pretty big after that.
Yeah.
Some of the
before or after the one she did with Bruce Willis?
Punisher?
This is just after, I think, Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
Who played the Punisher with...
Thomas Jane?
Yeah, Thomas Jane.
I think Thomas Jane in Resident Evil 2?
I'm pretty sure.
All right.
I hope so.
All I remember, I
I'm not
haven't
going to
watched
look it up.
Since
we don't
then.
research it.
I watched it when it came out. I was so pumped because I had played the game and loved the game. And I was so angry after I watched the movie, I never went back.
You and me both. I haven't seen it since it come
And
out.
so I'm interested to go back and look and see.
Shouldn't be a problem for me then.
Probably not.
Yeah, you'll probably just think it's
Never
a cool
played a
zombie
game.
movie, right?
Yeah,
So, we'll be on that next week. I think we'll have Bob back in here for Resident Evil. So, you'll take that either as a good thing or a reason to avoid the episode. That's up to you. On behalf of Joe Gortowski, Charles, I almost forgot your name for a second. Charles Hewitt, that's how tired I am. Ryan Mueller, I'm your host, James Hauser. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
Not thrice, not twice, it's once bitten.
Although it should technically be two.
Two bitten?
Yeah, I did get bitten twice.
You spit 3 times. Bitten by love.
Hands off.
Buttons off.
Hands off. What's been? Hands off.
All right. I'm done. I'm going home.
Putting that soundtrack on your way home, right?
Nope.